manager, translator, interpreter for Korean Foundation, Coffee. He worked also as a coordinator of the Kokumbi project, where he worked seriously in monitoring trends in school reintegration. He worked as an English teacher trainee. I'm getting old now, probably I need some places now. Where he coordinated with other school teachers the production of short-term and long-term plans for 8th grade. Since he has experience as a translator and interpreter, because he also worked for Operation Smile, worked as an assistant translator and interpreter for explain market and the right to play. He's an experienced man. Studied in Burveta Masamba Secondary School. Oh, the research field for Nigeria. Oh, okay. Okay, so this is briefly about the smart candidate who is there, and he intends to talk about factors associated with the challenges faced in class by grade 8 students in speaking English in case of Escola Secundária Geral Eduardo Mangani, Ikelima. So before we proceed, I will invite the supervisor to say something about the candidate as a museum.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, members of the audience and the head of the division. Of course, I'm here to witness this time is now Eliseo, who has conducted his research, to say that it was not easy at all to come up to this point. As you have heard before, listening from his CV, you will hear that he was translator, was interpreting, was working with that. So this issue of moving up and down will also collapse into some aspects that when we finish up on time. Anyway, we had to push all this aside, and as he was also owning a subject, but he wanted to finish on time. So it wasn't easy at all to make these things come the final point. So today, later on, we did, and today is his day of this presentation. So since the research paper is his, and it's today that he has to tell us, of course, how the aspects he was using or conducting has come to the findings. Thank you, Mr. Becky, Ms. Randa, and all the audience. Thank you.
Thank you, Susanna. Eliseo, I don't need to repeat the procedures. I think we have written it from Angelica. So we have 15 minutes. Later on, we'll interact with the first reader, okay? So check this 15 minutes for you to shine, okay? Good luck.
Good morning once again. As my name is written there, I'm Wish. I'm presenting factors associated with the challenges faced in class by grade 8 students in speaking English, the case of the Escola Secundária Geral Eduardo Mangani. Here I have my delimitation of the study. The study was carried out at the Escola Secundária Geral Eduardo Mangani, where the problem was detected. This school is located in Floresha slum. And here I have my statement of the problem. As we all know, the English language is a global language. It has a great impact in our daily society. And the Mozambican president, the Mozambican Minister of Education, has adopted English in the schools so that students could be able to speak and write the English language. But we have a case of grade 8 students at Escola Secundária Geral Eduardo Mangani. They could write some correct English sentence, like, how are you? I live in Kelman with my husband and my siblings, live in my car with my parents. Yet, they face the challenge on applying these same sentences in the spoken version. That's why I come up with the topic to analyze the factors associated with the challenges faced in class by grade 8 students in speaking English, the case of the School of Gelman. Here I have my rationale of the study. Studies were carried out in Mozambique and outside Mozambique, where the English language is considered as a foreign language. In case of Mozambique, we have Marrakech in 2015 and we have Afonso in 2002. Both of these authors, all of them, they were studying these factors, looking to the students' problem, and others were studying looking to the teachers' problem. But they didn't incorporate the importance that exists among these two parts. I'm talking about the students and the teachers in improving the speaking abilities in the classroom. That's why my studies of paramount importance, because it can help the students, trainees, when they face the same challenges in their teaching practice, and it can also help the students, the teachers at the government. Here I have my objective. The general objective was to analyze the factors associated with the challenges faced in class by grade 8 students, and here I have my specific objective, which are three. I have to discover first, to describe, and the third one to suggest strategies to minimize the challenges faced by grade 8 students in speaking English at School Secondary Development. Here I have my research question: what and how are the factors associated with the challenge faced in the class by grade 8 students, and what are the strategies to be adopted at this school in order to minimize these challenges? Here I have my research, my methodology. Here I have my research design. My study was qualitative, in the qualitative approach, according to Shine and Sonia Spina. It is a form of systematic empirical inquiry into meaning. By systematic, he wanted to say it's something that is planned and ordered. By empirical, it means its assumption derived from the participant's experience. And also I have my instruments for data collection, which were observation checklists and interview guide sheet. All of these observation checklists and interview guide sheet were applied for teachers and also for the students. I have my procedures for data collection and the analysis. I use HICA, which is qualitative content analysis. Is a system, according to this one, is a systematic interpretation of content without involving any numbers or quantification. And also, in other way, we have a case of Ancien Chacon, cited by Ibiswa, who says that the direct deductive or quantitative content analysis is a research method in which the data are analyzed subjectively through a systematic classification. And we have there something which is analyzed subjectively. It's analyzed according to the party taker's experience. And here I have my target population, which is where 402 population for 400 students and 2 English teachers. And here I have my examples, which were 2 teachers and 4 students. Here I have my little challenge you. Actually, we are speaking about challenges in speaking English. And for us to go through the challenges in speaking English, it's very important, first of all, for us to understand what the speak consists of. According to Fauzan, he refers speaking as a verbal language. The speakers to communicate and express themselves with other people orally. So it means for us to communicate, for us to speak, speaking is the way when we are speaking, when we use the verbal language. Now we are under speaking. And also I have factors associated with the church, a factor associated with the students, challenge in speaking English as a foreign language. A case of here I'm talking about the challenges mostly the students face. We have a case of psychological problem, which have a lack of confidence, guilty feeling, shyness, and there we have a mother tongue. According to and mine, he said the mother tongue is another challenge that challenges the student to speak English. Imagine in a classroom where most of the students they use their mother tongue. They speak the same mother tongue. So when they share the same mother tongue, they tend to use it because it is easier for them. And also we have a teaching strategy and according to Abdallah, revealed that another training speak English in class by the students. Yes. Here we have success in speaking. For the student to be successful in speaking, the teacher has to adopt STT, student talking time, motivation, and pay attention to the student's level. The teacher has to pay attention to the student's level so that the students, and here I have methods in teaching speaking, which is a communicative language teaching. It means the teacher, to improve the communicative activities, has to employ communicative language teaching. And here I have my data presentation and analysis. I have interviews, teachers interview. The first question was, what hinders the student not to speak English in the classroom? This was for me to discover if there was any connection with the psychological problem, whether these students they faced some psychological problem for them to come and speak. Lack of confidence, shyness, and fear of making mistakes. Those were some of the factors the teachers addressed during the interview. The second question, would you mind explaining the language that the students prefer to use in the classroom discussion? This was to see if the students prefer to use the mother tongue. And they say that Portuguese was mostly used by the students along the lesson. And also, number 3, would you mind explaining how you trigger your students' attention while they speak English in the classroom? Describing carefully what the teacher answered, it can be noted that both of them use textbook. Here was for me to see what are the teaching materials the teacher will apply in the classroom in order to help the students for them to speak English. But it could be seen that they were only applying textbooks. And would you mind explaining the types of teaching strategies you use in the classroom to trigger students' attention while speaking? The teacher answered regarding this question showed that they were not implementing any strategies. As we all know, we have a strategies for us to teach English. We have a case of role play, a case of classroom debates, discussion. But these teachers, they did not employ these strategies in the classroom in order to trigger speaking activities in the classroom, but they say it was because of the pandemic. And here we have the students' interview. How do you think about English subjects? Just by your opinion. This one, I was trying to understand from the students what they think about the teaching, about the English subjects. The huge number of the students reacted positively to this question. It means they said it was a good subject. They really enjoyed the English language. They really wanted to speak the English language. How do you feel about the English lesson? Just by your opinion. I was also trying to understand from them what they thought of English language. And how could you analyze the teachers and students' relationship in the classroom? I was trying to see if there is something which hinders for them to, the teacher, for what hinders, for example, as I said previously, the case of teacher not paying attention to the students' level. I would like to understand if the teacher was using a kind of English that the students could understand. And they have between the teachers and the students who speaks much time in the classroom. Here I was about to analyze the case of STT, which is a student's talking time. I would like to understand if the teacher gave the students time for them to interact in the classroom. All the students reacted to these questions by saying that it was the teacher who spoke mostly in the classroom. It means the teacher was the one who mostly spoke in the classroom. And the fifth question was, do you understand your teacher's speech? Just by your opinion. A small number of these students reacted that their teachers tried all their best to make them speak English, and many students argued that the teacher did not speak English from their level. Here I have my sixth and seventh question. What have you ever had a discussion, role play, teacher description, and interview in the classroom? Just my opinion. I wanted to understand from the students if their teachers used to employ some of teaching strategies in the classroom, such as role play, teacher description, and discussion. And many students say that they were never involved in none of these activities. And few students say that they were once involved in the discussion. And their opinion was that they were not involved arguing that because of the time, there was not enough time for the teachers to employ these activities. And I have the students, what would you like to see improved in the classroom so that you can feel free to speak English? Many students stated that they would like to see more time for the English lesson. So they argued that the time for the English lesson was not enough. They would like to have more time for the English lesson so that they could improve the speaking activities. Here I have my conclusions. Lack of motivation from the teacher side to help the students overcome their psychological problems, such as confidence, shyness, and the fear of making mistakes. Because some of the teachers were just building the students. Like the students, they didn't really care whether they were not yet motivated for them to speak English. And the lack of time and suitable teaching materials available to implement the communicative language approach in the classroom, overuse of grammar translation method, and shortage use of speaking strategy. And I have some suggestions for teachers. Teachers have to motivate the students to overcome the psychological problem. The teachers have to implement visual aids and communicative language teaching to avoid the overuse of grammar translation method. The teachers have to incorporate activities where students are invited to think by themselves, such as role play, speaker description, and debate. And suggestion for the students have to be internally motivated. They have to face the English language as something that they can speak. And I have line 3, which is the students need to set goals and bear in mind that mistakes are natural and are part of the learning process. But for the students to come at this conclusion, the teachers have to be the ones to motivate them so that they can face the English language as something that is easier and able to be spoken. Here I have the students have to participate in the classroom speaking activities set by the teachers.
3 minutes.
And you know Tamalalan, thank you.
You should have 2 minutes. You should have 2 minutes. Okay. Thank you, Eliseo, Gustavo. Now I invite Professor Rita to interact with you. You actually read and prophecy of the candidate to decide the way you interpret.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Eliseo, how are you? Members, why members? After presenting, why members? Do you possess your presentation there? Okay. So what I will do here is to be at the same time suggesting and answering. Because what I need is to follow a sequence of the pages where you can find suggestions as well as ask questions. The first part has to do with the recommendation I gave you right to the page, even to the cover. The cover. I remember having suggested to you that this one should be genitive. Okay, an apostrophe is needed there. Okay, Anna apostrophe S. Okay, when you move to the inner cover, from the notes, okay, your name as well as the topic must be the same size, which is 14. It must be 14, but what I can see is there is a difference between the sizes here. I think that this one is still 16, but should be 14, the same as your name here. Okay, let us move to. I still have this question about the list of abbreviations. I remember having asked it, what were the criteria for you to sequence the acronyms here? It's like a random, okay, like sequence, or you might have followed, for example, the way they appear in the dissertation. No, just for you to tell me.
Yes, here at Magic Dream in alphabetical order, not according to where they located in the dissertation.
But I would rather ask you to at least, or this one can be easy for the reader. If, for example, the face can be the face which is found here, so that the reader, okay, let us suppose we have got this CLT, which is for communicative language teaching. Then one will have to, for example, find right, in the end. Then we want to find the second, which is found in the middle. Then I think that following the way they appear in the dissertation, that would be fine. Okay. Abstract. What is abstract? What do you think that the ones, for example, who quote or cite the dissertation will say, according to whom? And when they didn't quote this, according to whom? So, what is your surname? Luigi. It's okay, it's Shishan writing. Elias, Alfred, Shishan. According to whom? According to Shishan. Then, here we need to find Luis. We go back to this, which is your surname, comma, and then first name. Okay, this is what's suggested. Okay, your page 9. Follow. You really need to read the norms in order to see, because there I can see lack of consistency whether page, the abbreviation of page, is capital, small, or lowercase. If you can see 1, 2, 3, the second line, okay, Shaun, you can see P, which is upper, capital. But then if we come to the second paragraph, where we find, for example, tone and name, this P now is lower. Then we need to be consistent, but not only we need to choose this consistency. It's about the rules. Page 10. Follow. I remember having suggested in my first reading, that if you think that this piece of information, here in the delimitation of the style, this piece of information which comes as one start from the third line, because here the delimitation is about at least where you decided on working, where you said, okay, it was conducted at Scholars Congress Iran, okay, delimitation. But then this piece which says, meanwhile, the general objective was this, and that. I asked that if this piece is okay, is relevant, so somehow it must be misplaced. Okay, and I even asked you to see whether it cannot be found in any way else. So I think that the objective of the study, the level you decide on working with, it can be removed here, and I'm sure that can be found another way else. So here focus on the way where the research, okay, the way you conducted this research. That is my suggestion. And the problem of not being consistent in whether it's a capital P or small. This I would ask people to revise the whole writing. It's not only there.
Yes.
Page 15. So in the corpus of the writing, days or weeks. Therefore, these two teachers, I would rather like to see it like TWO, okay, as from 1 to 9. Then, okay, from 10 now can use it. So revise not only here, revise the whole way so that you know how to write nouns or numerals in the corpus of recitation. It is something which I might have suggested in the math preparation, the one you follow. Okay, page 23 is about punctuation. Page 23. Okay, this last line, okay, as it looks natural, goes and understand each other. On each one is not a sentence. So there's no way you can have a full stop before it and then we start a new sentence. It's not a sentence. So remove that full stop. You find this random sentence. Go to the following page, which is 24. What was the purpose of asking this question number 2? What was the purpose? Question number 2. You can see it on the previous page, 23. And you can even, okay, would you click to where you discuss about this on the slide? This was question number 2, teacher's interview, which is about would you mind explaining language that students prefer to use in the classroom?
Yes, this
one. What was the purpose?
The reason for any institution was to discover from the teachers the same way the math time was one of the factors associated with the challenge of the students in the class.
So you wanted to know from them whether you wanted to know from the interview from the teacher whether
the mother tongue was one of the factors associated with the challenge.
Do you know which mother tongue you wanted to know from them? Which mother tongue?
Actually, the mother tongue I wanted to know from them, taking into consideration the location of the school, was a trouble, because it's mostly spoken around the province. But some of the lectures there, they expressed that it was not the only trouble, there was some in the way, and there was also some people who couldn't even speak in trouble, they only spoke Portuguese. And then they changed to use Portuguese.
Okay, let us see what teacher one said. Okay, the question is for them to explain. Do you want them to explain or to tell us which one? I don't know.
This question?
Yes, would you mind explaining the language? Do you want them to explain the language? Or to tell you which one?
Yeah, actually I want to know the
okay, you want from them to know to tell you which language they use. Okay. So then you want me to revise. Okay, teacher one said, okay, my students are from different parts of the country and don't share the same mother tongue. Okay? Okay, in the very same school, the teacher two, what did he say?
My students, many of them are from the land and are not fluent in talk. They give to speak Portuguese to the rest of the class.
Then my question here, okay, you ask the teacher, okay, what language the students speak the most in the classroom? And a teacher says many students are from Gilman and are not fluent in Ishwab. There's something wrong with the answer. Although it's not your answer, it's a teacher's answer. Okay, what is the language which is being spoken the most? Oh, my students do not speak Ishwab. Don't you think that this answer does not match? And was this a questionnaire that you gave them to fill in, or it was a face-to-face question or an interview?
No,
Yeah, then we may design our questions, but it would come to face them, okay, we may have insistence in the answers we get from them. When we come to know that they are not responding to the things which we ask them to do. Then after you realize that, okay, you want to know the language, and you want to say, oh no, they don't speak the Schwab. You would insist in order to find the language that they speak the most. So I don't think, although it's not your answer, it comes from the teacher. Then you know, I did not ask you whether they speak the Schwab or not. I want to know the language that they speak the most. But as you go this way, there's no way I can ask you to go back to the teacher so that he tells you the right answer. But it was for you to ask. That was an interview. You are free to ask even 2 or 3 existing questions when you interview them. Let us go to page 10. It's a problem of agreement. Page 10. Yes, this question was raised, blah, blah, blah. Okay, where the factor, so where the factor. So somehow here you need to revise to see whether it's plural or singular. Go to the following page, this is the one. I agree that you may contrast. Okay, you will contract, was, for example, from the answers we got from the teacher, okay, my students don't, okay, speak this, because that's the way you got the answer. But now, when it's you writing a formal dissertation as this, somehow I wouldn't allow you or suggest you to contract. Someone can find deeds here. But not only, okay, the last paragraph. I suggest that if you wish is to discuss as a qualitative research figures, like this number of students said this number of students said this, you for most of the cases you manage to say the majority, okay, the minority, or large number of students, but here you are forgotten, and you still have 35 students said this, and 26 students said this, 14 students said this. Then I would rather you to continue with my suggestion that if that's not quantitative, you do not will, okay, or wish bring the figures to how many students have this, then you can continue with the majority, many students, okay, less number of students, and as well here we can find the thing of 5 students, say 5 as a way to know the figure. And revise also page 32, last paragraph. The answer obtained from this question was pretty different. Yet the average of 26 students, average, I don't think this is average. Okay, let us go to 34, page 34, where you talk about punishment, as you suggested. I even asked it because in my first reading I did not find the type of punishment that you suggested. And I asked you, can you bring examples of what you think can be punishment from the teachers to students? And now you say that, okay, you tell the students, okay, to stand up during the lesson while the others are sitting. I don't think this is a good suggestion. I don't think that this can be a good suggestion that the students, ones who laugh, okay, will laugh at one student. Then you have to stand up. Let us imagine that 90% of students who laugh at one student who, for example, did this or that. Then you have all to stand up. Okay, you will have to be seated. They will have to stand up during the whole 45 minutes. I don't think it's a good suggestion. I think he will suggest, but we won't follow this. I would rather ask you to find a different suggestion which will be beneficial to them, what the something to be called it, okay, in English. That can be a good punishment because this will be helpful than a physical, okay, a physical punishment like this one. Okay, the other suggestion you have, 4.2.2. Are you there? Suggestions for the students. What do you think is intrinsic motivation?
Something that comes within the students inside, like they feel themselves to want to learn English.
There's something which comes from inside them. Then you suggest you want to have intrinsic motivation. Or you say you must have an intrinsic motivation. I think you should have this. No, I don't think. So by the time you suggest, this will no longer be an intrinsic. That will be a stress because it comes from someone else to another one else. Okay, you say the students have to be internally motivated. Okay, it means they must have intrinsic motivation. No, by the time this is suggested, that will no longer be intrinsic. But when, for example, you say the students have to participate in the classroom, that's a suggestion. That's a suggestion. And the last is on page 85. I liked that when you were in your summary that you displayed, okay, we will find Michael, and Alfonso. And I would like to suggest that here, instead of Armin, Jose, Michael in the list of references, you will say Michael, a comma, then Armin, Jose. But this is what I suggest. This will be according to Michael, Lord. I mean, as you did with the others, and the thing is to bring the initials. Okay, that will be Michael, okay, then A and J. Mr. President, from that.
Thank you.